What's up, everybody? This is your boy Billy F. Gates, aka Steamin' Billy Beeman. With This Is Your Fantasy Podcast. I'm here with the guys. We got the Cobra, we got the Truth, and we got Big Ed. We have no show Jose. You know what I'm saying? But I want to wish my brother a happy 36th birthday, man. So it was yesterday. So salute. I know he's probably out partying, probably not partying, but no call, no show, man. That's how
No
how it
show,
rolls.
Jose, man. I like it.
That's a good one.
That was smooth.
He's gotta have that as a name when he comes on.
Oh yeah.
How you guys doing tonight, man? Mr. Cobra over there.
Doing good. Yeah, good to be back after missing last week. No, I got the Kings game on my phone, so I'll be updated as we go.
Oh, stop it.
Hey, yeah, shout out to the Kings, man. We up right now, 50-46. Hopefully we light that beam and we clinch a playoff spot.
You got no Laker love? No Laker love? We got that dub today.
Oh, go ahead, man. Shout them out.
You got that
That's
Laker
what-
love today.
I can't do that. That's against the law.
Oh, okay. Well, we took care of business today.
Yeah, no, you already know. I can't do that for the Warriors. I can't do that for the Lakers.
It's all good, man. You can show some Dub Nation. Show them some love, man. We took the dub yesterday.
Hey, shout out to all the West teams that are winning games. There you go. I'll say it like that.
There you go.
What's up,
Seed, baby.
Paul?
Sitting at 8 feet right now.
What's up? How you guys doing tonight?
It's all good, man. All good, man.
Doing all right. Big Ant, you doing good too?
I'm doing great.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. We got a great show for you guys tonight, man. We got some NFL news. We got some. Hold on, real quick. I got something in my ear that's annoying. Let me do that. There we go. My bad. So, what we talking about tonight? We talking about some NFL news. I guess also some updates for ESPN fantasy football. We also are talking about running back threes that have RB1 potential, and then players that will never draft again, and we have some running back bold predictions for the next season, man. So let's kick this off, guys. So I did read, I forgot where I read it. It was somewhere, but ESPN fantasy football, you can now reactivate for the 2023 season with some new rule additions. ESPN leagues have now added the option to change kickers' yards per field goal as opposed to ranges in the past. So, example, a 57-yard field goal is now worth 5.7 points instead of 5 in the past. And defenses can also be changed to go by each yard given up as well. How do you guys feel about that change, Mr. Kamish?
Yo, man, that 0.7's very crucial, man. There's some games that go down to 0.2 and you're like, oh man. So but it's also a double-edged sword too, man. It's that you're missing out on a couple of extra points instead of getting that full point too. So, it goes and it comes, either way. So, but I like it. You want the exact points you're getting for the players on the field, defenses and kickers as well.
Well, if you think about it, if you get a 62-yarder and you're only getting 66 points off of it, it's
Getting that point, get that point.
That point too, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it, man.
So are you going to add that to your league this year, or is that something that has to be voted on?
I guess we can vote on it, man. We really don't have too much stuff to vote on. I'm pretty sure that's one that's probably going to pass. A lot of us been playing together for so long. It's pretty much we're all on the same page most of the time. So I think that'll be an easy pass, though.
Okay. Hey, how you feeling about it, Big Ant?
I like it. I think ESPN trying to adapt with other formats like Sleeper and Yahoo and such. I personally, I love ESPN to death. I've been with ESPN since day one, but Sleeper's calling my name, man. I kind of like the Sleeper form. It's looking real nice, and to see if we can get the crew together and join Sleeper.
Okay. What about you, Cobra? Good change?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Sleeper too. I've never actually used it, but I've heard a lot of good things. As far as like the kicker thing, I'm all for it. I kind of thought we had already voted on it, but I'm sure. We'll vote on it again. It'll pass. Yeah, any fractional point I think is good, whether it's like plus or minus. I think it just makes it a little bit more interesting. Now the defensive thing, I didn't know about that. The defensive yards given up, that's real interesting to me. I don't. How do you guys feel about that?
I like that one too. That one, it's a game changer. Goes up by each yard. So
I think it completely changes like the landscape of a defense you would stream. Like
definitely.
because
What?
I don't know
What
about
happened?
you guys. Like when I would stream a defense, like I would try to go after a team that had like a high chance of getting a lot of turnovers. But you could have a defense that gets a ton of turnovers but gives up 400 yards. and if now you're getting scored on the yards, I mean that kind of changes things.
Yeah. So and also with the new rule edition, it says defenses can also be changed to go by each yard given up.
Is it like 0.1 or 0.1 a yard?
Let's find out real quick.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fractional.
yeah.
I think it was.
Fractional. Okay,
Probably like
that's pretty drastic right there.
that's
Depending
probably
on how
like
you
a
do it.
0.01 would be my guess. Like 0.01
Yeah, that's a
per
lot.
yard. It is.
Will that be? You guys think that'll be added
almost every
into?
defense is going to be like negative, then, right? Wouldn't that
Dude,
how it works?
One bomb from Patrick Mahomes and I'm down 5 points.
I think
you're
the
gonna be
deep.
negative like majority of the games.
I think the defense
matter
one's the biggest question mark. But the field goal one, easy money to use. But I think maybe it might be wait a year and see how it plays out, and and then you kind of go with that. You don't want to go into it and then especially us being in this league for so long, and they're like, oh man, the defense just killed me. You know what I mean? Something like drastically changes. So that might be that one. The defense is the wait and see, I think.
There'll be a bunch of us that don't play defenses.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it empty.
I mean, if it ain't broke, you ain't got to fix it. So.
I don't know, man. We might use it in the TIYF league.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I like testing out new stuff.
It's the progressive league.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right now.
Huh?
Hey, you never know. You never know. We might like it. We might not. You may be able to just use our league as the little guinea pig. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll see. But
I'm trying to see.
that's just. I haven't heard any changes like that for any other platform, right? Is it just ESPN?
Yeah, we're just ESPN.
How do you guys even feel about defenses? Are you guys still big on them, or you guys?
I'm big on defenses.
You still like defenses?
I'm
kind of swinging away from them.
Defenses, man. They especially with a rule change like this, it'll make things more. I think it'll make it more fun and make you think more. Like especially like for me, I stream defenses every year. Like I don't just keep a defense unless I feel like that defense is. The defense that I grab is having like they're playing well, they're doing what they need to do. I'll stick with them for a couple of weeks, and then as soon as like I see a matchup that I don't like, I drop them and I go grab me another defense where I try to play the matchup. So if we go do this in the TIYF league, it's probably going to change how I do my streaming.
I mean, that could be another thing we bring up this year in Fantasy Family, I guess, Ant, about taking the defense out. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're also going to be voting on the extra flex this year too.
Yeah, with the addition, you might as well
that. Yeah,
work around it.
So that could be in play also. So there's going to be a couple bigger adjustments maybe this year, or stuff we're going to vote on. Usually we haven't really voted on a lot of stuff the last couple of years. It's been pretty set in stone, but there could be a couple of new things going on this year.
Yeah, it doesn't really say, so I'll have to find it after, and then I'll update next week when I do find out everything. But yeah, man, those are the two big changes in ESPN fantasy football. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all that plays out, man. All right. Next up, we have our NFL free agent signings. So what I did this week, I was on Fantasy Draft Pros. I was going through, their news and seeing how they broke it down. What I liked about it, they gave a fantasy impact. So they didn't just give hey, they signed with XYZ. They gave a breakdown of what potentially could happen next year. So, like for instance, we'll start with Jamison Crowder, who signed a 1-year deal with the Giants. And for him, his fantasy impact, they're saying, is that the Giants have Wan'Dale Robinson and Paris Campbell on the roster who have experience playing in the slot. So they're a bit crowded in that department, and Crowder figures to be a depth receiver for a Giants offense that dealt with a number of injuries last season. So pretty much, he's not somebody you're going to draft. He might not even be a person to have on your team.
What if he doesn't even make it out of preseason? You never know.
Yeah, no, for sure. So how do you guys feel about the signing with the Giants, and the fantasy impact that Fantasy Pros has on it? Start with you, Big Ant.
Yeah, I'm actually a Jameson Crowder fan. When he's actually healthy, he was out pretty much the whole year, and I think he can make an impact with the Giants as long as they don't draft another receiver or bring somebody else big in, like they're talking about bringing Odell, this and that. So they kind of keep the core they have there with Wan'Dale and Slayton. I think they can all make a little bit of an impact. Fantasy relevant, maybe some. I think they're all flexes, but you never know. One might blow up.
Yeah, Mr. Cobra, the Cobra.
Yeah, I kind of agree with. I used to like Crowder. I kind of agree with what Paul said, though. He might be a cut candidate. So Sterling Shepard is still on the roster, and they actually gave him an extension. So I'm curious to see where that goes. I mean, I'm not worried about Shepard as far as he'll probably look good for the first few weeks and then get some other catastrophic injury and then be out the rest of the season.
Injury prone.
Yeah, but they still have Isaiah Hodgins. They gave him another year. They got Darius Slayton. Those are the two guys I think will be probably top of the pecking order at wide receiver. But Crowder's still good. If he ends up winning in that slot role, I could see him being somewhat relevant. Probably down the rest of the back half of the season or something.
Okay. And Truth, you sticking with what you said?
Well, the New York Football Giants, man. I'm staying away from anybody that's catching the ball out there. I don't got nobody on my radar, even if he does make it out of preseason. That quarterback that's throwing the football, making all that money. Come on, man, stop it. Yeah, in the New York Giants, I don't see anything positive fantasy for wide receivers. Especially to start week to week there. Yeah, I'm good, man.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel like it's a bit crowded over there as far as wide receivers go. I don't think Odell's going there. I did hear some news about Odell and the landing spot that's going to happen. I heard he was at the owners meeting and he was talking to one team in particular. I don't have it in the notes, but we'll get to it in a second. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting spot that he's going to go to. Next up on our list is KJ Hamler, who underwent pectoral surgery. The fantasy impact for this is he has a 4 to 6 month timeline that gives Hamler a chance to be ready by training camp. The wideout has been ravaged by injuries in his brief NFL tenure, suffering a torn ACL in 2021 before being limited to just 7 games and 7 catches. The 2020 second round pick will be behind the 8 ball again to begin the 2023 season. So how do you guys feel about KJ Hamler undergoing surgery and being pretty much another person that is injury prone? I'm gonna start with you, Paul. The truth.
Hamler, that's Denver, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 4 to 6 months. Yikes. I don't know, man. I mean, he really hasn't really gotten off to the start. He's really wanted to his career. I mean, even before he got hurt, it was really nothing about him. And then we're still waiting on your boy Russell Wilson over there to come alive. So he's a good talent, but we just don't know too much about him yet, and we haven't seen him on the field enough to be, a fantasy guy we can rely on. So it all starts with Russell first before you even go to this guy, and then once this guy gets healthy, then we can kind of see what he does. But if Russ can, go back to his form, I think he's worth a look. But right now, something you stay away from.
All right, Cobra.
Yeah, KJ Hamler's never really been relevant, at least in the leagues that I've been in. Yeah, 4 to 6 months. I mean, it'll be cutting it close. They got other guys on the roster. I think Cortland Sutton is maybe a free agent still, or he's still with them, or wants out possibly. I can't remember. Jerry Jeudy sounds like he's going to be the guy. The other guy I'm kind of looking out for is Tim Patrick. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he was supposed to be like the absolute like number 2 guy on that lineup before he had that. I think he had like a knee injury like in preseason or something. But there was like a lot of reports coming out of camp that Tim Patrick was going to be the guy.
Oh yeah,
before
I remember
injuries.
that.
So yeah, well, it'll be interesting. But yeah, Hamler. I mean, I'm not sure if I've ever rostered him before, and I probably never will.
I don't think I've ever had a Denver wide receiver besides who was the wide receiver one like 2 years ago? That I think he was a rookie. There you go.
That
That
was
guy.
Portland.
Yeah. I think that's the only one that I had, and it was only for a brief stint on my team before I shipped them out.
Yeah, the last one I had was Demaryius Thomas.
Ooh, that was the last good one.
Yeah.
Big Ant, how do you feel about KJ Hamler and this surgery that he's gonna have?
Best of luck to him, but I mean, there's no tape on him. There's nothing there that's positive. You know, I mean, all I can say is best of luck to the guy, and hope he comes back strong. But I mean, like Paul said, Russell Wilson, it all revolves around him. The running game's a little iffy too, because I mean, the running back is coming off an injury as well. So I mean, at the end of the day, they said they're not going to trade Jeudy or Sutton, and those are basically all the weapons they got. So if Hamler can come back, he can be a little gadget piece, but he's not getting rostered in any leagues.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't. You think that he's a guy that's going to get drafted in the later rounds by somebody who just doesn't pay attention, potentially?
No.
Yeah. I mean, he has talent. I mean, he didn't go in the second round for no reason. It's just him. It's just about him being healthy and maybe being in the right spot. Maybe he goes to another team, next year, and changes his whole fantasy life, But right now in Denver, it's just not sitting well for him, and especially with the injury.
Okay.
I mean, the leagues we're in, I don't see him getting drafted by anybody, and nobody's going to stash him because the IR is too important. So,
yeah.
Yeah, no,
I already got my keeper on IR after the draft. So,
all right, man. Next up, we got the Lane Johnson signing a contract extension with the Eagles. The Phillies now have one of the best tackles in football under contract through the 2026 season. Johnson has not surrendered a sack over the last 2 seasons while starting 28 games over that time. The 3-time first-team All-Pro earned an 83.2 grade from Pro Football Focus last season and will look to help steer the Eagles back to another NFC championship in 2023. So this is a big signing for the Eagles that helps out. Man, what's QB's name? Why do I always forget people's names?
The Hurts? Are you kidding
There
me?
you go. Jalen Hurts. I don't know how I forgot it, man.
How you forget the number 1 quarterback next season, man?
That's
You're
not
tripping.
The number 1 quarterback.
You're tripping right now.
Well, I mean, that's your quarterback. So the truth, man. Give it to me. How you like that signing or that extension, that contract extension?
That's awesome, man. For my quarterback, I'm excited about that news. And not only Rashad Penny will probably be happy once he finally hits the field. So, I'm sure a lot goes around that, man. The dude's awesome. I mean, he's gonna get his money, and they're signing him to the extension for a reason. He's been a big part of that offensive line for a while, and it shows. So it helps out Jalen Hurts. I mean, I know the guy runs around everywhere, when it does break down, but having one of those type of guys up front helping you block and with protections, always a plus.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Cobra.
Yeah, and it's good for the running backs, good for the offense. I was wondering when that was going to happen, so it's just overall good. It's even better now knowing that their defense has been parted out a little bit, so they might not be as good defensively and probably even more potent offensively. So good they got Lane Johnson back. Yeah, damn you, Paul.
Big
man, look at my chops, my boy.
Are you frozen, Big Ant? Okay, never mind.
when the guy's arguably like a top 3 right tackle in the league, he bullies anybody who comes at him. So I mean, that was a must for the Eagles, and that was a must for Jalen Hurts, at least short term until they paid Jalen Hurts. But I mean, that's a no-brainer. You're giving the I would probably say the best right tackle in football all guaranteed money. As long as, like, there was a small stint where he got hurt, but other than that, the guy is rock solid.
Yeah, no, for sure. Not allowing a sack over the last 2 seasons is amazing. That's not easy to do. But yeah, no. So, do you guys believe with Lane Johnson coming back, Jalen Hurts moves from like that tier 2 into that tier 1 coming into the 2023 season? I'll start with you, Big Ant.
I already think he's in there.
You already think he's in there?
To answer your question, I think he's going to be in the tier 1. They're honestly, the Eagles are just getting started. Like, their defense kind of fell apart, but their offense didn't go anywhere, and they added Rashad Penny, who I think, as long as he stays healthy, could easily give them that huge spark they need. He's way more explosive than Miles Sanders ever was. So I mean, that'll give him that burst right there, and then Jalen Hurts, that'll give him with the right tackle signing. That'll give him a little bit more of a what's the word to use? A security blanket. Because you never know, one hit, dude's done in today's football. So if you're going to give Jalen Hurts that extension, you got to make sure your guy's healthy.
Okay, I agree. Cobra, you think he's still tier 2 or he moves up to tier 1 in 2023?
Oh no, he's tier 1 for sure. Yeah. I think I have 4 guys in tier 1, and Jalen Hurts definitely a tier 1 quarterback.
All right, Truth, same thing, tier 1. Well,
he's the number 2 quarterback overall in my book right now, man. I think Jalen Hurts, just from last year on what he did, and he's just gonna follow up on that. All the pieces on offense are still there, like Ryan was saying. If they're giving up more points on that defense, there's gonna be more games where they're a little bit more behind, and he got to throw the ball more. You got to score you got to score a couple more points. Because I know there's games where the game was over already, and all they did was run the ball off, and I was, I had 30 points already, but I was getting greedy. I wanted 40. So there was that aspect you look at it, but Jalen Hurts, I think he's just gonna get that much more better in fantasy for next year.
All right, man. And as for me, I think he stays. I think he moves to the top of the tier 2 list. I don't think he moves into that tier 1 yet. That's just that's just me. He needs one more season. I mean, he had 2 bunk seasons, and then last year, he had a breakout season. But year 4, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And next up, man, we have Tony Jones Jr. signing with the Broncos. Jones reunites with the former head coach Sean Payton in Denver on a 1-year pact. The 25-year-old appeared in 6 games between the Saints and the Seahawks last season, producing just 24 rushing yards on 10 carries while adding 5 receptions for 30 yards. Big numbers. This guy went crazy. The Notre Dame product has yet to record a touchdown in 18 career appearances as he looks to break through with his new team in 2023. I'm going to start with you, Cobra.
Oh man, we're diving deep, guys. We're going to Tony Jones, but I'm not. Look, I'm not going to talk about Tony Jones too much. It's kind of boring. But let's talk real quick about the Denver Broncos backfield. I heard. I can't remember if I heard it on like YouTube or it was like a Twitter or something. But what I had heard was Javonte Williams is not looking too good.
I heard that too.
Had the AC, not just the ACL, but there's also like another tendon in that knee that was also ruptured. So it's like 2 different tendons. And I'd heard that it's not looking good. So it kind of makes sense that they would go sign Tony Jones. They already signed Samaje Perine, who sounds like he might be like top of that backfield right now. And then you have a guy like Tony Jones. So I think the Denver Broncos backfield is going to be interesting going into the season to see who's healthy, who's available, and then I'll probably go back and look and see what Sean Payton's usage for running backs looks like typically. I know usually he'll use 2 guys like Kamara and Mark Ingram. I don't know. I just think the whole thing is interesting, and it looks like they're not done adding depth to that backfield yet. So,
yeah, no, I think with this Tony Jones signing, I think it's just more of a security blanket. I think obviously running back RB3, RB4 maybe, just depending on how deep that backfield is. Though just 25 years old, being injured. I mean, that's just not a good look, man. I don't think he lasts at all. I think that's probably his last year in the league. He's probably just trying to make the best of it, get another contract, and you know what I'm saying, and then dip out because I don't think anybody's signing him. But Big Ant, how do you feel?
I don't mind it. The guy's young, like you guys said. The Broncos has beefed up their whole line. They signed like 3 new offensive linemen. So I mean, like Ryan said, Javonte Williams is looking like dirt. So I mean, between P. Ryan and Tony Jones Jr. and I'm assuming Tony Jones Jr. will be like a third down back, scat guy who's going to get a lot of catches. He's not going to get drafted off the back, but give it a few weeks and if he get some catches, maybe some deep flex value, maybe. But I mean, like I said, we never really seen the guy, so you never know what he can do. Could be the next, Tariq Cohen for all we know.
You never know.
Yeah, wait
Truth.
and see.
Speak it.
I mean, you guys talk about Tony Jones, man. What about my boy Tyler Batty, man? We guys are forgetting about him. He's got to beat out Tyler Batty for to be the backup in Denver. You guys know about Tyler Batty, right?
Who's that?
I don't know either. So that's the thing. So exactly. I mean, there ain't nobody else. There ain't nobody else there. So I mean, of course he's gonna get his shot. I mean, I've never heard of the guy. I'm looking at their depth chart right now. It's pretty ridiculous on what I'm looking at. I've seen guys that I've never even heard of. So that backfield's patched up for sure until Williams gets back. But yeah, it'll be a preseason battle to see what these. Maybe there's a guy that get in the draft. You never know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's true. So just so you guys know, in the little next segment that we got, we'll be talking about some P. Ryan, and we'll talk about the Williams and all that. There's some news on that. So I like how Cobra brought that up. I'm just letting you guys know we're gonna cover that. Next up, we got Nelson Aguilar. He's signing with Baltimore, and so Aguilar will join a Ravens team that is desperate need of playmakers downfield. And I don't know why they went and signed him. The 29-year-old registered 362 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns on 31 receptions last season with the Patriots. I'll start with you, The Truth. How you feeling about Nelson Aguilar and I guess the playmaker in him?
Man, he hasn't done anything since he left the Raiders, to be honest, man. He had that one good year with like 8 touchdowns, close to 1,000, or if he did have 1,000, then he got a nice contract, and he's just been a ghost since, man. But the thing about him going to the Ravens, I mean, if Lamar's not going to be there, who's throwing him the football? So, I mean, he's never really been the guy. He's never really been, a wide receiver 1 or anything. Playmaker, I mean, jump balls. I mean, he wins a couple of those. That's the only type of playmaking ability he has. I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. You throw the ball up there, he'll come down and get it. But other than that, man, he's without the right receiver, dropping it. Yeah, he's also known for dropping it too. But without the right quarterback over there, if like I said, if Lamar's not throwing the ball, I mean, what good is he gonna do? You're gonna get somebody mediocre in there, and you're just gonna see what he did last. Same thing. You're gonna get the same results as last year when he was with Mac Jones. He's not gonna do anything for you. But that's a big question mark. Just because of the quarterback situation too.
All right, Big Ant, what you got for us?
It's a toss-up for right now. I do think Lamar does resign. I think they make it work. He's not a wide receiver 1 by any means. He's an okay wide receiver 2, okay, like a really okay. He's a good flex if you really need a pass week, but there's nothing fancy about this guy. Like Paul said, he had one good year and then had a decent contract and then didn't do nothing. He went ghost. So, I guess he can rejuvenate his career with Lamar. I think he'll be there. And then you got there's 2 other receivers there. Who they got? They got who got hurt? Yeah, Bateman. Yeah, Bateman.
And Mark Andrews. I mean, he's tight end, but he's more like a wide receiver.
Bateman and Agonglahor, that's all right. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but I mean, it's better than what some teams are rocking with.
Aguilar.
Aguilar. That's how much I know about the dude.
Aguilar, man. Aguilar.
Oh man. Hey, isn't Nelson Aguilar the guy that was getting crap from that Philly fan about? It was the guy that was out here catching babies from a burning building. He's like, I got hands better than Nelson Aguilar or something
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was.
because he dropped that deep pass, I think, and I forgot what game it
Then he was
was.
in. It was when he was with the Philadelphia
Yeah,
Eagles,
the
man.
Eagles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He dropped that bomb.
that's
yeah.
right. I remember now. Yeah, that's okay. I think it's inconsequential. They still have Mark Andrews there. Rashad Bateman will probably be healthy. I mean, and then like Paul said, we don't know who the quarterback is. I'm kind of feeling what Ant's saying though. Like, just with everything that's going on, it wouldn't shock me if he actually went back to the Ravens. But yeah, I don't know. Aguilar, I guess if everybody gets hurt, he might be interesting. That's it.
He might be a good stash for your fantasy roster, especially if you just, you're hurting that wide receiver. He's just somebody to have on the bench just in case. Bye week player for sure. And you just hope that he gets you double digits. I think that's just for me. Next up, we got DJ Chark Jr. signing with Carolina. Chark is joining a rebuilding Panthers offense that is set to have a rookie QB. The 26-year-old tallied 502 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on 30 receptions with the Lions last season. I don't know why it says rushing. I meant to put receiving. My bad. Chark should be a solid flex option in 2023. How you guys feeling about this one, Cobra?
This is the one I was waiting for. I think this DJ Chark going to Carolina is mildly interesting. I don't think he's going to be drafted very highly. He'll probably be like around like 11, 12, 13, 14 type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Panthers are the ones with the number 1 overall pick, right? So they're probably going to get CJ Stroud, would be my guess.
Mistake.
I know they got Adam Thielen there with the Panthers, but Chark is good, man. He's like a true X wide receiver, and it wouldn't shock me if he had a good year. I don't know. I think he's mildly interesting, and he'll definitely be on my radar for fantasy.
All right, Big Ant.
I've always been a Chark fan. He's a big boy. He got all the tools, but I don't know. He's never been able to put it. I think he had one pretty good season in Jacksonville. But other than that, he got banged up. So I mean, as long as he stays on the field, he's on he could have a pretty good season. I'll say he's probably really good flex for you. Maybe he can wide receiver 2 for you.
All right, the truth.
Yeah, he played really well. He had a bad knee injury, so that's the reason why the downfall was what it was. But I think after now he's a full year away from that. I think for sure he can become a really solid flex for you. And I also like the fact that he'll be like number 2, 1. I don't know how you put Thielen him. I mean, probably be the number 2 receiver. And then going into that offense, I think Carolina is going to struggle a lot, and they're going to be playing from behind a lot of games. So there's going to be a lot of passing going on. You're going to get a lot of those cheap passes, those cheap catches, at the end of the game. So his numbers could look, a lot better than a lot of people are thinking. But I really like Chark coming into this season in Carolina.
I think it's a solid pickup for Carolina, helping whatever rookie quarterback they do get, especially or whoever they draft. I think that it's a really good compliment to Adam Thielen, and I think the Carolina Panthers, might have a little something there. Chark is, he's decent, definitely decent. And I agree with Cobra on where he goes, definitely later rounds, but he's a solid pickup, especially for this young Carolina team. And I feel like I think he could be the RB1 or not the wide receiver 1 in Carolina. Adam Thielen is an older wide receiver. So, I mean, you never know. DJ Chark is younger, got more speed. So it'll be fun to watch how that all plays out. And let's see what Damian Davis got to say. Shout out to Damian Davis for tuning in. Carolina is banking on their division. They're only trying to be better than their opponents in the division. How do you guys feel about that comment?
Division is not that great. I mean, isn't that the Tampa Bay division where they got into the playoffs with a losing record?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all you got to do is maybe win, 8-9 games to win that division, and you're in the playoffs. So I mean, it's doable. It's doable for sure.
You got to go
So,
against Baker though.
stop it, man. Come on.
Yeah, I think the Saints win the division with these.
You think Saints win?
Noel's back on the map.
All right. Okay.
I had a
Cobra,
quick
you got
question though.
anything?
Hey, Ryan, do you think that Thielen is drafted lower than Chark?
Oh, that's a good question, man.
That
You
is
know,
a
based
great
on his
question.
name, you think he gets drafted lower?
Yeah.
If you're drafting Chark that high up there, is Thielen around that round, or is Thielen getting drafted earlier?
Man. So I don't know how to answer that. I guess I'll just answer it for myself. I think I'd rather have Chark than Thielen personally.
Yeah.
I just think Chark, just like you said, with his height and speed combination and the position he plays, I think he has more potential. But I'll be honest, I don't know enough about CJ Stroud. Like, what do you guys know? Like, what kind of passer is he? Is he kind of like outside the numbers kind of guy, or more up the middle, more reserved?
Not too sure, man.
I'm not 100%.
I don't pay attention to Ohio, man.
Why not?
You already know why. It's that big M around here.
We need our Ohio State Buckeyes analyst. He's not here. No show Jose. So
he don't even pay attention to them.
Yeah, man, now that you asked that question, Chark maybe goes higher. Maybe he's like a 9-10 guy. Like,
yeah, I think he goes a little lower than that.
Maybe 8-7 ish.
Yeah, 7, I think 7-8. 7-8.
Yeah.
Or do you think people stay away from them in the draft because of Carolina and not knowing what quarterback is there?
I think if you get either one of them as your flex, I think you're going to be all right.
I think camp reports are going to matter too. Like, if we find out that Chark is the actual one running like as the one, then I think Chark easily becomes like a 7 back into the 6 type pick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It really depends on the reports, huh? Well, you guys just tune in and we'll give you all that. So next up, we got Zane Gonzalez, traded to the 49ers from the Carolina Panthers. They swapped future draft picks in 2025, and Gonzalez enters his 6th season in the NFL after being one of the most successful college kickers ever. The trade is also likely an indication the 49ers will not be bringing back Robbie Gould, which he's not coming back. He's already said it. Who's 40 years old and currently a free agent after 6 seasons. Gonzalez has a career field goal percentage of 80.5%, but nailed 90.9% of his kicks in 2022 last year. That's a solid kicker. Is this somebody that you guys would look to in the draft? I know that we don't really touch on kickers too much, but is this somebody that you would go after in the draft rather than just try to stream them? I'm sorry with you, Cobra.
I think he'll be drafted just because he's a 49er and where we
right. Right.
But, and half our teams are Niner fans.
So the 2 kickers that I never ever get in drafts are whoever the 49ers kicker is and whoever the Raiders kicker is. I never get those guys. Oh, and Justin Tucker.
And Justin Tucker
always goes round 8. No, I think it's a good pickup, man. I remember Zane Gonzalez with Arizona. He was a pretty decent kicker. Now with that whole like yardage thing and thinking about like how far away their kicks are, I don't know. How does like the 49ers offense affect the kicker, and is it better or worse? I have no idea. But he's a good kicker.
It depends on who the quarterback is, but you already know that the 49ers kick a lot of field goals.
Yeah, that's true.
What's up, Paul? What are your thoughts on that?
Just like what Ryan said, man. Of course, this guy's going to get drafted. He's San Francisco 49er. I mean, just the percentages looking at him, I'd really never seen him kick. I thought he never kicked for the Browns. He was always kicking for
Carolina,
Arizona, or
he played for a few teams.
Yeah, okay. So he's been around. I've seen the name before, so I mean, yeah. He'd be solid looking at his percentages. Kicked well. I mean, for sure he gets.
He played for the Cardinals. He played for the Cardinals. Yeah, he got drafted by the Cardinals.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a solid pickup. The Niners, you're gonna get, like you said, he's gonna get a ton of chances. So, it's a good pickup for them, especially losing Robbie Gould. I mean, the guy was just money for them for so many years. It's just time to move on, and should be a pretty good replacement.
Yeah, no, we didn't lose Robbie. We just decided that we didn't want to pay his ass. Big
It's
Ant.
losing them, man. I mean, that's a big kicker right there, man.
Yeah. No, I think I thought Robbie Gould would have been like one of the bigger free agent signings of the offseason. Robbie Gould's automatic, man. Like, and you need kickers in today's football a lot. Like they're really relied on. But I looked up his numbers. He's only had one season with over 30 field goals, and last year he was 20 for 22. I mean that's good for he only kicked 22 kicks, but 20 for 22 is not bad. Like you said, George, the Niners kick a lot of field goals because they're in the red zone a lot. So I mean, it can't hurt you. I mean, as long as
touchdowns or what?
You know,
I don't watch you in the 49er game.
Well, with Jimmy, we had a lot of missed opportunities. I'll say that, especially in the red zone. So yeah, that's why we kicked a lot of field goals.
So we got a good
on the first drive.
We got a good kicker, so we'll take care of that.
Games usually start off with 3 points for the 49ers, man. As for me, man, obviously 49er fan, seeing those numbers, 90%, field goals made, that's really nice. I seen that in 2021, it was 70% or something like that, somewhere around there. But that's decent, going up 20% in a year. Hopefully he can continue to do that for the 49ers. And I feel like he's definitely somebody that is going to be drafted, not just in our leagues, but in leagues throughout, whoever's playing. He's solid enough. He's going to be on a team that kicks enough field goals. So I think he goes, 16, 17, like a normal kicker.
Yeah, it said his 40 to 49 was 10 for 10, and his 50 plus 3 out of 5. So I mean, that's usually the range you're in was in the 40 to 49. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty automatic for you guys.
That's what we
Long
need.
was 57.
Yeah, that's 5.7 points right there.
Yeah, that's what the Niners need. They're usually within that 20 or 30 yard line.
Yeah, no, and especially if we do, I know for TIYF we're gonna do the field goal points like that, and it's definitely gonna help. It's gonna definitely be different, and so hopefully with people understanding the rule changes and the addition with these points, I think they're gonna start looking at kickers different, and they're not just gonna just try to grab just anybody. They're gonna really focus and see who's Mr. Automatic out there. But next up, man, we got Marquez Callaway. It seems like they're not going to be the Denver Broncos. They're going to be the Denver Saints, man. He's expected to sign with the Broncos. Callaway spent 3 seasons in New Orleans where he played under the Broncos' new head coach, Sean Payton. In 2021, he had 46 catches, 698 yards, and 6 touchdowns, all career high marks. The Broncos have been reportedly shopping their wide receivers, which could potentially open a role for Callaway. So let's start with you, Big Ant. How do you feel about this potential signing with the Broncos?
Callaway's numbers are going to be a little inflated because the Saints had absolutely nobody to throw to last year. I think the Broncos are pretty set at wide receiver, but I mean, there's always room for depth and all this and that. So I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, if he's going to bring that what he did last year to Denver and help out Russell Wilson, I love it because I would like to see Russell Wilson ever come back season.
Well, I mean, if they're shopping their wide receivers, according to reports, and that leaves a hole open. So, like, if it's just Marquez Callaway or whoever else they decide to bring, do you think that he'll be able to have that same type of role or success that he did in New Orleans?
No,
not with Russell Wilson.
No.
Right.
At the end of the day, I think they keep both their weapons. I don't think they're going to get what they want for him, And I mean, I think Jerry Jeudy's easily worth the first round pick, and the fact that he's not gone by now, then yeah, I mean, what are you waiting for? And then Cortland Sutton, I think Cortland Sutton, he's a really good wide receiver too, but at the same time, he kind of has those games, one catch for 9 yards. Like, what are you doing? You're kind of like the old Amari Cooper, some games with Dallas where he just sit around and lollygag. So, like I said, I think they're both there, and I think Callaway's a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. If Patrick comes back, like Ryan said.
Okay. I like it. Cobra.
Yeah, I think the last time I remember talking about Marquez Callaway was when he in preseason 2 years ago, he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns in a preseason game, and everybody picked him up off the wire. I think Jose beat us all to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got potential. Let's see what they do with the receivers. You know, like kind of like Ant said, you know, if they are really shopping them, I know we don't really know for sure who's going where. I know Cortland Sutton might want out. There's potential. Callaway, you know, I think, but the big thing is we're all just kind of banking on Sean Payton to be the quarterback whisperer and to revive Russell Wilson, turn him from Russell Wilson to Russell Thrillson.
I like it, man. You know, I agree with that.
Damian Davis said that Peyton said they're going nowhere.
Yeah, I said Sean. He saw that Sean and said his receivers were not going anywhere.
I heard that earlier. Last week.
I believe it. Truth.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get Danger Russ back, like when I used to draft him, you know, back in the old, you know, heyday. But yeah, this guy's always been kind of a role player. Never been like a wide receiver 2 or anything. But he'll have those games, man. I know he has those games where he, you know, goes for those 2 touchdowns and then he just kind of disappears. But with those other, of course, I mean, he probably will be the number 3 receiver with all the injuries they got going into camp. We're all saying the same thing with Sean Payton. You know, he's the offensive, you know, mastermind. So, yeah, I mean, wide receiver 3, I don't think he gets rostered unless we see a big change with my boy Danger Russ.
I don't see any changes happening with that guy. He's in the dumps, man.
Oh, man, that's a comeback player of the year for fantasy right now.
Stop it. Stop it.
Comeback player of the year. You heard it here first on this pod. Comeback player of the year, Russell Wilson.
He's in there. I'll second.
He's gonna get the Kim K award.
Gross.
What does that even mean?
Anything Kim K related is just nasty.
You guys never seen the Parks and Rec episode, blooper with Chris Pratt? It's a little too much for the podcast. I'll send you guys the clip. Oh, man. Next up, man, we got Marquise Goodwin reaching a deal with the Browns. Ex-49er Goodwin provides the Cleveland Browns with more speed, something the team has needed in its rotation outside of its depth pieces like Jakeem Grant and Anthony Schwartz. Goodwin's departure likely means the Seahawks could be in the market for a new wide receiver 3, and the Browns have now added Elijah Moore and Goodwin to a newly buffed passing offense. So what's up, Truth? How do you feel, man?
So going to the Browns, I mean, the wide receivers, I mean, more weapons, the better, I say, you know. I mean, you got to give Watson everything he can get. And I mean, he's got the running back in Chubb, so he's got that, you know, 8 in the box there. I mean, yeah, Goodwin shows flashes of being good sometimes. I mean, I've seen it like even when he was Lamar was throwing him the ball, he had a couple of great games. He had a good little stint there for a little bit, and then he got hurt. So a lot of these guys, man, I mean, the injuries is what kills it. These guys can go, you know, catch fire and then just that injury bug hits you. But Goodwin, yeah, he's got the speed, man. And, you know, I've seen a lot of good games out of him. He can stay healthy. I mean, with those 3 receivers could probably do some damage. I think it's a good spot.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of wasted years on the 49ers. I know that he was dealing with a lot of personal problems, injuries, and things like that. But I feel like there was a lot of wasted years with the team. But yeah, Big Ant.
Yeah, I liked it a lot until you said Elijah Moore. I forgot they traded for him. Mm-hmm. So between him and Elijah Moore and Donovan Peoples-Jones, who people don't really know a whole lot about, Peoples-Jones, a young guy who I like a lot. Yeah, I thought Goodwin was going to be a good fit there until I forgot about Elijah Moore. So that's a crowded wide receiving room right there, really crowded, and that's a lot of mouths to feed. Goodwin stepped up last year, so I mean, he actually turned into a wide receiver for once. You know, he's not just a track star anymore. He's actually a wide receiver now.
Yeah, I agree. Cobra.
Yeah, it's a good pickup. I think it just overall signals what the Browns plan on doing this upcoming season. I think they're going to open it up for a lot more passing. So yeah, but you hit it right on the head. I mean, that receiving room is pretty crowded between Cooper, Peoples-Jones, Moore, and then Goodwin. I don't think Goodwin's really going to be fantasy relevant, at least off the bat. But with opening up that offense, it'll be interesting to see how it goes throughout the rest of the season.
I know. I agree with that. I agree with everybody's assessments, man. No, Goodwin's definitely. I mean, he might be a good bench player to have. I know definitely not draftable, but maybe for deeper leagues, he might be somebody good to have a stash on the bench, man. You never know, especially with Watson. Just this will be his. Last year was his first season, but this will actually be the first season being the quarterback. So whoever he's familiar with, things like that. I know that Coop's there, Moore's there, so it'll be good to see how it all plays out. And you know these quarterbacks eventually find that security blanket, and it could be a person that we just may never know. So Goodwin might be a good fit, definitely wide receiver 3 there, and a potential stash just in case you need it. Next up, we got Bobby Wagner going back to the Seahawks, man. Wagner returns to a Seattle franchise where the veteran linebacker played an immense role as a part of the vaunted Legion of Boom defense under the head coach Pete Carroll. Wagner should once again provide a valuable side-to-side option as part of a Seattle club looking to return to that postseason once again next year. Cobra, how do you like the Bobby Wagner signing back with the Seahawks, and what does that mean for the Seattle defense?
I saw it. I thought it was kind of a cool story to see him go back to Seattle. I don't know enough about Seattle's defense, though. I know they were rough to start the year, and then they kind of got like a little bit better by the end of the season. I'm sure it doesn't hurt to have Bobby Wagner go back. But I don't know. I probably still won't count on them for fantasy defense too much.
All right. Big Ant.
I like Ryan just said, hit it on the head for him going back to Seattle. Yeah, I think he's going to be like a leader for that team. Their secondary is pretty good over there, but I mean, I think their D line needs a little help. But I mean, overall, their defense was better than probably half the league for sure. So I mean, I think he gives them a lot next year going into drafting defenses, because we're talking about that a lot. I think they could be a top 8 defense with there probably. I mean, because their secondary is already pretty good, like I said. And I mean, they
Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
My boy MJ out there. Oh, my boy.
We gotta cut that segment.
My bad.
My bad, man. You gotta say MJ. We about to hit the about to start moonwalking on this pod right now, man.
Man, I be butchering people's names. My bad. But yeah, no, I like that assessment. And what about you, Paul?
Man, Bobby Wagner, man, he's going back home. Getting a little older. I mean, he still got it. I mean, he's Bobby Wagner, maybe like another one or 2 years, but I mean, he knows the defense. The defensive wise for Seattle, I mean, I think I streamed him a couple of times. The matchup wise, they started playing better towards the second half of the season. So bringing him back, somebody who already knows the system, defense gets a little bit better. But I mean, it's defenses are tricky with fantasy, so you just play it out a little bit, see how it rolls, and then we'll see if they can sneak in to be a top 12 unit.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I think that they could, potentially be in top 10, top 8 defenses again. I mean, that's going to be the leader. I mean, he knows that team in and out, knows that defense in and out. He got some key young pieces on that defense, especially in that secondary, man. So it's going to be fun to see how they mesh together and what they can do on that field, man. So you never know. Seahawks might end up being one of those teams that I end up streaming a couple weeks, even being a 49er fan. I still got to do what I got to do to win the championship. All right, man. I know this is the big one. I know Ann was talking about this one. Everybody's been talking about this one. Lamar Jackson officially requests a trade from the Ravens. Jackson has been openly upset about his contract situation since at least last season, and the Ravens have placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on the veteran QB ahead of the deadline, as the two sides remained far apart on a new deal. The non-exclusive tag means the Ravens and Jackson can still negotiate a long-term deal, but Jackson is also free to talk to all the other NFL teams. If Jackson signs with another team, the Ravens can match any offer or choose to accept 2 first-round picks as trade compensation. Jackson, who has been negotiating without the help of an agent, apparently is hoping to find a trade partner. His redraft and dynasty value will be dependent on his landing spot, and the outlooks are murky. So, with you, Mr. Paul, how you feel about this whole situation?
It's just real messy, man. I mean, it's been like that since the news came out the first time when he didn't, they got tagged and got all upset, and I mean, it's just one of those you got to wait and see, man. And also kind of see what happens in the draft, also with how the Ravens, go in there. Do they maybe trade up and try to get a quarterback? You never know. So that, I mean, if that's a scenario, then he's really expendable, and maybe I don't know, man. It's just a whole wishy-washy kind of like situation they got there in Baltimore. I mean, I'd love to see Lamar Jackson go back, but it's just the money. He deserved the money. It's just his injuries are keeping him from getting that. But a team right now to pull 2 first-round picks is kind of real murky, as it states. So. Yeah, it's question mark still, man. It's a slow playing. It's very slow playing.
And I'm gonna save the best for last. So let's go, Cobra.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I thought it was surprising to see that it's lasted this long. For the caliber of quarterback that he is, but I think it sounds like a lot of like GMs or executives and owners around the league have like real concern.
Uh-oh.
That
We lost you to the Matrix.
There he is. I see him moving now.
Okay. I don't know how much you guys lost. I don't know how much got cut off.
You from the beginning, actually.
Start from the beginning, man.
Okay. All right. Basically, what I was saying is, I don't know. It was like cutting out for a minute. All right. So basically, what I was saying is just, I think there's some real concerns around the NFL as far as like Lamar Jackson or coming from owners and like league executives and stuff like that, as to like how injury prone he is. And then the other thing too that I've been hearing is that if you go after Lamar Jackson, you kind of have to set up your offense to be tailored to his play style, which is probably off-putting to a lot of teams. But this is just my own prediction. I think after the NFL draft next month, I think the whole thing with Lamar Jackson will start to pick up steam because mainly for one reason. All of the 2023 draft picks will be spent. And then from that point, if you have to give up 2 draft picks for Lamar Jackson, you're looking at 2024, 2025. So then it makes a whole lot more sense to give up the picks since it's a year later. And so it wouldn't shock me after that point to see some type of team jump into the mix. Who, I don't know, because I feel like every time I open Twitter, it's just, another team that's not interested in them, whether it's the Colts or the Falcons or name that team, they're not interested in them. But I think after the draft, that might change.
All right. Big Ant.
What is up? All right. Well, I think he comes home to Baltimore. I think they squash it. They let bygones be bygones. They give him all guaranteed money. Unfortunately, I don't like that at all. But they'll do it. I don't know if it'll be as much as Watson, but it'll be pretty close, if not more, than Watson did, just based off of what he's done compared to Deshaun Watson. And that's what he's going off of. He's just going to compare Watson. Like, hey man, I won MVP. I've done more than Watson throughout my career, so I deserve more. The reason why I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be is because quarterbacks are blowing up. Every salary, this will be nothing in a few years. Like this is going to be, if not nothing, this will be average salaries for quarterbacks like Burrow, Herbert, Dax on one other deal, so on and so forth. And the only two teams that I heard would have been big on them were New England. They said, I think yesterday or today, that they're out on Lamar, and then Atlanta said that they're saying Atlanta was Atlanta. They would probably take him, and their owner said that he said on Desmond Ritter. So, I mean, I don't think he has that many options with the draft coming up. There's 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are going to be QB1s for their teams in a month, so there's not really a whole lot of homes for them. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that want him on the roster, but at the end of the day, are you going to give up 2 first-round picks and give him probably $275 million guaranteed dollars? No, it's not going to happen. So at the end of the day, there's only really a few places he can go, and it's going to be Baltimore, I believe.
All right. You don't think that he can end up landing with the Houston Texans? They need a quarterback.
No. They I mean, the only thing I don't agree with is what Ryan said. I think that they're definitely going to want 23 pick for sure. 23 picks are going to be in there for sure if it's going to happen. I mean, you can lollygag and wait on it and hold it by then, but if it's not in there, that I believe, in my opinion, makes the Ravens want to sign up more. You know, if the 24, 25, 26 picks are in there, then we'll just sign them and we'll match the contract. But if there's 23, 24, whatever in there, then, you know, that'll give them a little more of an idea of, oh, yeah, maybe I will just take the picks and run.
For me, is it in his best interest to, you know, suck it up, play this season and try to just play the whole season healthy, right? One season healthy, and then it turns everything around, because he's just franchise tag for 1 year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still making $36 million. I understand about the injuries. I know it takes one hit, but you go this next year and he plays it healthy. Does that change everything for 1 year?
With his history of injuries, no. I mean, with his injury history right now, if he gets hurt again, that's 3 years in a row. Nobody's going to pay him no guaranteed money then, or at least that much by any means. I mean, nobody will. 3 straight years. This guy missed half the season last year. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You can't miss half the season and expect to get all this guaranteed money. Then if he goes out there and plays on the tag this year, which is like what, 40 mil or something like that, a little less than that probably. It's probably like 35. But like if he goes out and plays on that tag and he gets hurt, there's no way, man. Yeah, you won an MVP. You look like a monster for one season, but if you can't sound to be a monster, then people aren't going to invest all that in you.
I don't think it's in his best interest to play for the Ravens. I think he sits out. He tries to stay as healthy as possible, especially if he doesn't really have any weapons. I mean, he has Mark Andrews, and then he has to use his legs. I mean, this is what happened last season. I feel like he's done with the Ravens. I don't think he goes back. Contrary to what Ant believes, I feel like it's over for them. That whole situation is it's probably like that, past that breaking point, and Lamar's just wants out. He wants a new home. He wants to play some football, win a championship. I just don't think that it's there with the Ravens. And I mean, if he does leave, what does this mean for Mark Andrews? Is he still a top tight end? Is he still in that conversation? Is he still top 5, depending on whatever quarterback comes in? Is he going to stay fantasy relevant? What are your thoughts on that, Cobra?
I think he'll take a big blow to his fantasy stock, or I would be off of drafting Mark Andrews, at least highly, maybe somewhere in the later half of the draft. But without Lamar Jackson, it's not the same.
All right. What about you, Ant?
It was clearly obvious, regardless of him being hurt or not, he looked a lot different without Lamar last year, a lot different. So he wasn't going out there and putting up 25 points a game. He was putting up 8 points a game, and that's a big difference when you're drafting somebody in the 3rd, 4th round. So, I mean,
he had a Pro Bowl Tyler Huntley thrown to him.
Yeah, Pro Bowler,
and he made the Pro Bowl. I was about to say, come on, man,
Pro Bowl.
But I mean, it kind of depends on who you throw in there. If it's Huntley again, I still think he's top 5 just based off the slim 5. But you never know. There's there's hardly any tight ends you ever draft, after Kelsey anyway. So I mean, it's Kelsey and Pitts. Those are the only two you really rely on, and Pitts didn't do nothing last year. So I mean, I still think he's top 5, but it's pretty cool. I think he's gone before the 6th round for sure, though.
Even with Huntley as QB, and like you said, he was putting up 8 points. He did really ruin a lot of people's fantasy playoff runs last year. People were banging on him to take him down the stretch. No Lamar. Mark Andrews was he was a non-factor.
Yeah, I still think he because I mean the whole offseason with Huntley, if he stays, I mean they'll get a little connection going. I mean if all you got's Bateman, Huntley, and Aguilar, yeah, you're going to go to Bateman and Aguilar a little more in my opinion. But when the tight end's really your safety blanket anyway, I think they'll get a little connection going. I mean, they just threw Huntley in there because Lamar got hurt. So, I mean, you kind of went there on the whim. You don't really have that whole time to get that connection going. So I think a full off season with the training camp, I think he'll still be top 5 with Huntley.
Paul, what are your thoughts on Mark Andrews?
Right now, they have him ranked number 3 overall tight end. I don't like these rankings. It's Fantasy Pros. I don't like him at all because they got Hawkinson after him. I think Hawkinson's is going to be better than him next season. I also think Evan Ingram's going to be better than him next season. But yeah, he's without Lamar, man. We sound like a broken record. I mean, he's not the same. Like Ant says too. I mean, yeah, maybe he's top 5 just because of how slim it is. But I mean, he's not a guy. He's just not a guy you can go in there and bank on. Like, hey, he's going to give me, double digit every time. He's not that tight end without Lamar. And he's just kind of like a question mark every week, or like if you're banking on a matchup, if he's got an easy matchup, maybe you're going to get your 10 points out of him, but you're not going to get that, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, in consecutive games out of him. So, yeah.
All right. I know that this wasn't in the notes, but this is what I was referring to earlier about some of the news that I heard. Again, Odell Beckham Jr., he was spotted at the owners' meeting and talking to one team in particular. I mean, he did speak with a lot of other executives from other teams, but this team in particular was pretty much being hinted at is where he's going to be signing, and that is where Aaron Rodgers is going, to the New York Jets. How do you guys feel about this? Odell to the Jets with Alan Lazard and Aaron Rodgers. I'll start with you, Cobra.
Man, can wide receivers just like stop going to the Jets? Fuck, excuse my language. It's like, dude, like there were a bunch of guys on that team I was excited about, and then mainly like Garrett Wilson and at the time Elijah Moore, and then Alan Lazard shows up, and then Randall Cobb shows up, and then now maybe Odell shows up. It's like Aaron Rodgers don't throw the ball that much anyways, and you still have Breece Hall in the backfield. So I don't know. It's whatever.
And what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's really crowded if he goes there. I personally don't see why he would. If he wants to be fantasy, if he wants to be relevant, and be like flashy Odell, 7-8 catches, which might be rare now anyway. But if he goes to the Jets, he's not going to put up the numbers he did with his previous teams. They won't even be close. Between I don't know, I can't think of the rookie. He killed it last year. Wilson, what's his first name?
Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, Lazard, and whoever else they got. They got like 4. They got like 5 receivers right now, man. They're all decent, like if not better than average. So I mean, there's just no room for him. I don't see why he'd go there. I think I don't want to dip into too much, but I think there's a few teams that he should go to over the Jets, and he'd still be with a marquee quarterback and can make a good fantasy run.
All right, hold on real quick before we move on to any other fantasy news. Hey, this is breaking news, people. Breaking news. Sacramento Kings are making the playoffs for the first time in 16 years, baby. Hey, light that beam. We going to the playoffs. Woo! You already
Hey,
know
Ant,
we talking
hey,
about around here.
hey, Ant. I remember when I made the playoffs. Well, we made the playoffs for the first time, man. But
16 years ago. You hear that, Paul? It's been 16 years.
16 years
Jesus.
ago, yikes! I think my mom was still making my lunch for school. Jeez.
Now the Jets are
16
on the
years.
top. The New York Jets are on the top of the list for the longest playoff drought. Yeah, let's go.
Well, speaking of the New York Jets, that might come to an end if everything. We're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers to arrive there, aren't we? So, I mean, there's still a lot to play. Hey, with that Odell news, man, I think it's a good fit, man. I think he's been hurt the last 2 years. I think that maybe he doesn't takes the load off him a little bit, man. Let the guy ease back into it instead of having to go be the man every time, or you have to really rely on somebody who's injury prone the last couple of years. So maybe he goes in here, take the load off. You got all these other receivers he can throw the ball to, and maybe he stays healthier, a lot more healthier this way. That way, spreading the ball around and not having to be the go-to guy every time.
Oh, I like that. Good points, man. Those are solid points. Yeah, no, could be a good signing. I mean, that probably could end the Jets playoff droughts. You never know. I mean, again, this is just rumor news that I heard, but the person that was talking about it, they were pretty adamant that that's where he's going to sign to. But you never know, man. And things change in the NFL pretty quickly. But yeah, next up, our next little segment, man, we're talking running back targets, RB3s with the RB1 upside. And I just, again, Fantasy Pros has some great articles. So for all you fantasy football players out there, Fantasy Pros is a great place to utilize and, just get some other ideas, other thoughts. But I really like this article that they put together. It's 5 running backs with the RB1 upside. The first one that they got on this list is Alexander Madison, the running back from Minnesota. They re-signed Alexander Madison despite a reasonable draft class and plenty of other options on the open market. They have also been rumored to be ready to move on from Dalvin Cook, who is going to be 28 when the season starts. Madison has sat behind Cook since he was drafted in 2019. He's only made 6 starts, and that's when Cook's missed games. And in those in games with Cook, Madison has averaged 5.4 rushing attempts per game and struggled to be fantasy relevant with a 4.74 PPR, obviously points per game. But in those 6 games that Cook missed, Madison returned to true RB1 numbers with a 20 points per game average and 36 receiving yards and 79.5 rushing yards. And if the Vikings decide to move on from Cook and save $9 million, then Madison could see his ADP and ranking spike by 30 spots very quickly. Truth, how you feel about the potential RB1 upside of Alexander Madison?
Well, it's always been there, and everybody who's owned Dalvin Cook knows that. Anytime he sprains his ankle or he gets a cut on the finger in practice, everybody's rushing to go pick him up on the waivers because we just know how explosive this guy is and what he can do for you. I mean, I've done it before, and I picked it up, and he's gonna miss even if Dalvin Cook was missing 1 week. I pick him up that 1 week, he's blowing up for 20 points. So he's that good. So if they're moving away from Dalvin Cook, it's easy. He's an easy top. I'm not saying he's a top 5 running back. I mean, he's top 12 just because of the workload in Minnesota. He'll probably take the whole workload. But yeah, I mean, the guy has, the tools to be, the every down back. He's only 24 years old. So the mileage on him, since he's been out of college, it's right there. He hasn't played that much. So he's still fresh. He's got fresh legs. I mean, easy number 1 if Dalvin Cook they decide to move on.
All right. Big Ant.
I'm a big Madison fan. I think he should have been starting for them already. I think Cook. I don't think he's gone this year. I think he'll stay, but he's gone for sure next year. But just based off contracts and this and that, like Paul said, I think probably around like top 15 for sure. Like hands down, top 15. This guy's a banger. He smacks people in the face, and he runs with authority. I think he could easily run for 1,000 yards. And they're always on the goal line, so I mean, I easily have 10 touchdowns. So he could be between that if you a good year out of him, and probably be like 8 to 15 range. So RB2 for sure. If he got the lion's share of the work.
All right, Cobra.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. If Dalvin Cook is gone, Madison for me, I'm looking at the rankings right now in Fantasy Pros, and I'm thinking, okay, like this or that. You guys tell me. I'm gonna name some off, and it's around that 12 to 15 range ish. Alexander Madison as the RB1 or Joe Mixon?
Oh,
Madison.
Yeah, Madison.
Madison or Aaron Jones?
Madison.
Aaron Jones.
No, Aaron Jones is done.
Aaron Jones is nice.
Madison or Najee Harris?
Madison again. I'm taking Madison. Yeah.
Over Najee?
Yeah.
So Najee's ranked at 13 right now. Here's a good one. Madison or Ramondre Stevenson?
Ooh, Ramondre.
That's tough.
Even though
I'm going Madison.
Even though Ramondre had a bad ending to the season, I still like he has major upside. He has super potential. I really like Ramondre.
No, we're talking Madison. A full 16, 17 games, Madison.
With no Cook.
Give me Madison. Give me Madison.
Over Ramondre?
Over Ramondre. Okay. Give me Madison.
Let's keep pushing this.
Give me Ramondre.
I'm on it right now. I'm being dead. I'm being dead ass.
That's RB12 right there. Yep. Okay. Madison or Breece Hall?
Oh, Breece Hall.
Breece. Oh, coming off ACL though.
I'm going Madison. Just because
Madison.
of the injury.
Because
of the injury.
Madison.
Yeah, you're tripping, man.
What?
You're tripping.
Oh my goodness. You guys stop that
injury
right now.
Coming off that injury.
You guys stop it. Over
going
Breece
in,
Hall.
hey, as of right now, both going in as a starter. He's not going to play in the beginning of the season. Give me the healthy running back right now. I'm taking Madison.
I don't care if he misses 4 games. He'll still have more fantasy points.
You're tripping, my boy.
He can miss 4 games and still have more points.
Stop, man. Stop it.
What?
You are tripping, man.
No, you're tripping.
That's probably the best.
There's a reason why Breece Hall starting and Madison isn't.
Oh man!
Oh yeah, neither is Breece, man. He'd be on the sideline watching.
Still have more points.
Breece, I think at Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson's kind of where I would have him.
Who's the next one, Ryan?
The next one, Tony Pollard or Alexander Madison?
Give me Madison.
Pollard.
Nah, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, man. I wanted to see Ant's face.
Stirring that pot.
I wanted to see Ant's face. Yeah, I just wanted to see. I just had to check.
All right, Alexander Madison, RB11. That's where we got him.
I feel like, I said it, like top 12. 10 to 12 was where I'll put him at. I mean, especially if it's his team. Man, I see it every time. When I think it was the year before when he covered 6 games, the dude was almost like 15, 20 points every time, man. And that's what you want from an RB1. So he's a lock, man. I mean, he's electric every time I watch him play.
Nice. Cool. That's it for me.
No, that was nice.
Got my feathers all ruffled up, man. Yeah.
So, all right. With all that being said, Alexander Madison, where do you guys think that he gets drafted at? All right, if there's no Dalvin Cook, take him out the equation. If Dalvin Cook gets cut, let go, traded, whatever have you, where is he drafted at? I'll start with you, Paul.
He's not going in the first. He'll probably go in the middle of the second if he's right there because based on our draft, everybody goes running back. Everybody goes running back heavy, and I think he goes to like in the middle of the second round if he's confirmed starter for the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, Big Ant.
I say 3rd round, maybe late 4th or early 4th. Sorry, 3rd round, early 4th.
All right, Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the very earliest, back end of the 2nd round, probably early 3rd.
All right, yeah, no, I have him probably around the same thing, 3rd round. He'll be a solid pickup for sure. All right, next up on this list, Rashad Penny. So, oh, sorry. And before we move on, they have Alexander Madison listed as RB 42 currently. Rashad Penny is RB 44, and obviously is with Philadelphia now. And they're saying that Penny's entering his sixth season, and he finds himself with a new team for the first time, where he'll be hoping to stay healthier than he's managed for the majority of his career. Over the last 3 fantasy seasons, Penny has played a total of 16 games. When Penny's on the field, though, he is undoubtedly one of the best pure rushers in the league, second all-time in yards per carry with 5.69, and in his last 8 healthy games has averaged over 7 yards per carry. Aiming to kickstart his career, Penny will have the opportunity behind one of the league's best offensive lines in Philadelphia. It's also worth noting that the league's competition committee might look to outlaw the Eagles' QB sneak package that was so effective in 2022. I think that's stupid. They shouldn't do that. If that were to happen, then more goal line carries might be available for a powerful back like Penny. When it comes to Penny, there will always be an element of risk and reward, but fantasy football is a game to chase ceiling outcomes, and Rashad Penny's ceiling is looking quite high in Philadelphia. Let's start with you, Big Ant. How you feeling about Rashad Penny's RB1 upside?
Definitely an RB1. I got him in the RB2 range. But I mean, they do have like one of the best offensive lines in football, so that's a great place to go. He's really fast. I'm just worried about his goal line, what they're gonna do on the goal line with him. They'll be down there a lot, and they have Boston Scott, and there's another guy they had there for a while who they like to give the ball to on the goal line. And Penny, he's a bulky guy, so it's not like he can't handle the goal line work. I just don't know if he'll get it. His teams are weird, and they have Hurts, obviously, so. Hurts is a tank, so they'll probably just throw it to him. I mean, not throw it to him, run it with him. I think he's an RB2. Easy too. He's really.
All right, Cobra.
Yeah, I mean, you got him way higher than I got him at. I think the potential is there. So I mean, I'm not that far off of you, but I just don't know how it's going to shake out. Kenneth Gainwell's still there. I think they'll be splitting snaps.
Yeah,
I would imagine Penny will go into the Sanders role, which is valuable. So, I mean, I think 1,000 yards is on the table. The biggest thing is just the health, man. The injuries, just every season. I was reading something about Rashad Penny today. Through 5 seasons, he's only played 42 games. It's like, dude, it's like 8 games a season. So if he stays healthy, he absolutely has the potential to be like an RB2 range guy for sure. It's just the health that I don't know. And also too, it wouldn't shock me if they got another running back in that backfield.
Okay. Yeah, no, it is a running back by committee over there right now. Truth.
Yeah, man. Keep his carries down, man. I think when he gets like 23 carries, 25 carries in Seattle, he just starts piling up on him, especially coming off injuries. And he's so injury plagued. Maybe this guy just needs to be, start the season off with maybe give him 10 carries, maybe push it to 12, just because, you want him to be serviceable, as much as he can, and you want him on the field as much as possible. They got all these running backs. They'll probably end up drafting one. But I mean, I like Penny. I see him going in like the 5th, 6th round type of deal, kind of like later, because that's kind of where I got Miles Sanders last season in the 5th and 6th round. Actually, I drafted Penny in the 6th round. I drafted him right after Miles Sanders. So I think he stays in the same area just because of where he's played with injuries. But yeah, I mean, he's got the upside when he's healthy. I mean, I traded him to some guy, last season for Jamar Chase, and it was unbelievable, and I can't believe I pulled that trade off.
Highway robbery.
Yeah, I don't know how I pulled that trade off, but I mean, I sold him you got to sell when he's hot. That's what one wise man once told me. So
I just heard that.
Yeah, you gotta sell him when he's hot. So that's one guy you might want to sell. Maybe even next season he starts to pan out pretty good, and those carries are starting to look a little heavy. You know what? Go ahead and see what my buddy Ant's up to. See if we can get a trade in.
So, who do you think is gonna be the starter in Philadelphia? Is it Gainwell, or is it gonna be Penny? Cobra.
It's a really good question. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be Gainwell, and I only say that because of I thought he actually looked really good throughout the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Like he was good. And I think coming off of a run like that, that he'll probably get the first crack at it. But Penny will get a sizable touch count too, so he'll still be valuable.
All right, Truth.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. I think so. And maybe if it's the third and long, you leave Penny in there for like down blocking. He's the bigger back. You probably block a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Gainwell. He did play pretty good. I know we had him on a couple of parlays. And
And he hit too.
yeah, exactly. He was the one guy actually hitting everything. So maybe he's earned a spot to be able to start. So give him a shot and then just kind of let Penny work himself in there slowly.
All right. What about you, Ant?
Do you guys think Gainwell is better than Penny, or is it just because he's been in Philly longer?
I think he's been in there longer, and he's just really productive in that spot. When they give him a chance, run the ball or catch the ball at the backfield, I think he's been pretty productive. So I feel like, in my eyes, give him a shot, to start off the season, and then, but Penny, I mean, if he stays healthy, we all know what kind of back he can be.
I think that's why they weren't. I think that's why they were able to let Miles go and not re-sign him, was because they had Gainwell. I feel like they just picked Penny up because he could be a solid RB2 right
Cheap.
behind. Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, no, I think Penny starts. No brainer.
I think Penny starts. Okay. I like it. All right, man. What did I say, y'all? Did I already ask you, Cobra? No, I didn't. Huh?
Did. Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm tripping. Sorry. It's late. I'm tired. Next up, RB49, Samjay Perine, the new Denver running back. After an impressive 2022 campaign, Samjay Perine hit the open market at a perfect time and was snapped up by the Denver Broncos, who are seeking a solution to their running back woes, with Javonte Williams recovering from a torn ACL and LCL injury. Williams suffered the injury on October 2nd, giving him 11 months to be fully recovered in time for the season, which by no means is a sure thing. 2022, we saw JK need significant time to ramp up on his return from a similar injury, as did fellow Raven Gus Edwards. It shouldn't be surprising to us if the Broncos aren't in a rush to get Williams back on the field and prefer that he returns healthy when able to do so. Recent reports speculate a wide range of outcomes for Williams, with anything from no missed time to an entire season possibly. Samjay Perine showed in 2022, while filling in for Joe Mixon, that he is an able running back, outproducing Mixon in forced missed tackles per game and yards per reception. His ability as a 3-down back in what looks to be set a run heavy scheme under Sean Payton could produce a lot of fantasy points. So with that being said, Cobra, Samjay, RB1.
Might be. He might be. If Javonte Williams is out for the season, or just doesn't have to be out for the season, just misses time at the beginning. Samaje Perine definitely is not going to be RB49. Like I would probably say top. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, top 20. Top 24
sure.
would be an RB2, right?
Top 20 for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I
kind of
buy
depends
that.
on how long he's out for. Like if Javonte's out half the year or 4 to 6 weeks, that's 6 weeks of starter. I mean, that's
yeah, but he's gonna come back. He's gonna ease him back. He's not gonna be the same Javonte, Williams, when he left. So it's gonna be a while. So he's still gonna. Honestly, this is Samaje Perine's year, man. This is gonna be his whole, show it. I mean, what he's got, and he's a great running back, man. He just never gets time. He's always behind a good running back, or a great running back. But when this guy has the time, when he gets the carries, I mean, he's very serviceable, and he could be the RB2. He could actually be, turn into the RB1. Get him in the, second or third round, and you match him up with your other guy you drafted in the first round, and you could potentially have 2 first round or top tier running backs. You have 2 number 1 running backs on your team. So I feel like he has the potential to be an RB1, just depending on how everything goes in Denver.
All right. The last thing I'll say about Perine is I think his stock is going to rise in fantasy as we get closer to the season, and especially if Javonte is going to be out sometime. I think when it's all said and done, Pirine he's gonna be like the one player, like one of those players that either can like win you a league if you draft him at a good value and he ends up being like an RB1 because he has the talent. He outplayed Mixon easily last season. He could either like be a league winner, or if you draft him too high, like if you don't get enough value on him and he doesn't work out, Javonte comes back or one of these other backs works into the rotation too much, then he could end up like damaging your team. So just depends on where you draft him.
All right. I know I know that in the summertime we're gonna have the Cobra Corner where Ryan is gonna, be placing some of these people, in a potential draft spots. We ain't doing that tonight, but Big Ant.
Yeah, if he's the RB1 for at least half the year, I don't mind it. Like Ryan says, as we get further to the draft, we'll know a lot more about it. But to be honest, we haven't even seen Devontae Williams to even blow him up. I'm like he had Melvin Gordon to continually beat him out. So I mean,
Super Bowl champ Melvin Gordon.
Is he really even the guy? Like, is he really even like that? Is he even that good? Like, but I think P. Ryan could easily a top 15 RB in fantasy if he gets the load.
Oh, yeah, he'll get the whole load.
Here we go.
Back to the loads.
I know, right?
He's not RB1, but
I mean, to be honest with you, I never really knew too much on P. Ryan, but I just know that he did have a decent season or a good season last year. And recovering from an ACL and an LCL injury, man, that's crazy. I mean, again, he might not even play next season, so we'll see how that goes. And if he does come back and plays, he's probably going to be on a snap count, like a limited snap count. So,
yeah, that's why I think it's his whole year. This is Samaje Perine's year, man. He's got. I mean, if he ends up doing good, I don't know what kind of contract they signed him to. I think it was a 2-year, if I remember correctly. But if it was a 1 year and he shows out, I mean, he might get paid the following year. So, I mean, on a contract year, running backs like to ball out.
Let's see real quick. What is his contract? Yeah, 2 year.
2 years. Yeah, I think it was a 2-year.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Next up, we got RB33. I don't even know how. So I don't know how they got these. I don't know about these rankings, but RB33, Antonio Gibson, running back for Washington. The Washington Commanders are a team that is hard to understand on paper. They have some exciting players on offense, but are counting on a 5th-round draft pick, Sam Howell, to take a meaningful leap in 2023 after just a single start in 2022 when he couldn't earn more playing time than Carson Wentz and Tyler Heineke, who are both now off the team. The team has yet to make any moves at running back, leaving the backfield to be carved up between Gibson and Robinson Jr. The backfield was a mess at times in 2022, with neither Gibson nor Robinson providing much in the way of fantasy returns. But where Gibson stands out is his work in the receiving game, averaging 3.9 targets per game in comparison to Robinson's 1. If for any reason Gibson becomes the RB1 of the backfield, he has the skill set to capitalize. How do you guys feel about this one? I don't really know. I don't like where they got him ranked at. I'm gonna start with you, Paul.
Antonio Gibson, man, I think he's just gonna fade away. This is my boy B Rob's bulk load for sure. I mean, the guy got shot last season and before he started playing. I mean, and he came back and still down near put up 1,000 yards rushing. You know what I mean? This guy's full season, off season. He's gonna be able to bulk up. He's got I mean, just the way he played last season. He knows the system now. I feel like this guy's gonna B Rob just gonna take over, and Antonio Gibson, you're just really gonna see him just sparingly. You're not really gonna see him a lot. Yeah, you're gonna get the third downs once in a while, but for fantasy. I wouldn't bank on him. I don't even think he's draftable in my eyes for me.
Do you see any RB1 upside at all? I don't personally.
Negative. Yeah, he's nowhere in that conversation.
All right. Big Ant.
He's a flex. 100%. Yeah, he's a flex. He he'll still get some load. He's really young. It's not like he's like 28, 29. He's like 25. So he's still really young. It's unfortunate that where he's at in this situation, but I still think he has upside. I mean, he's not like going to get him 25 carries a game, but he'll still get 10 carries a game. He'll get like 5 catches. So he'll still be involved.
All right. Cobra.
Yeah. Man, do you guys remember when Gibson was like a round 2 pick? Those are the good old days. For fantasy purposes, correct me if I'm wrong, but JD McKissick is gone, right? Like he's not in Washington.
He's out of there.
Okay, so I think Robinson is the one, but I mean Gibson is mildly interesting. I think that's why they probably got him at RB33. He's the flex guy at best, and he's probably going to get most of the passing work in that offense. But who knows what that offense is going to be with a rookie quarterback? So, yeah, he'll probably not be on my draft list, but you never know.
Yeah, he may be a flex down the season. You never know if Brian Robinson gets injured. Probably somebody to pick up on waivers. I don't see any upside with Gibson at all, man. That's just my personal thoughts.
Brian Robinson get injured? Come on, man. The dude took some bullet shots. You think he's gonna go down? This guy's a tank.
You're right. All right, next up on this list, man, we got RB51 Jaylen Warren. 2022 represented a break from the norm with Mike Tomlin, who typically prefers one running back to absorb as much of the workload as possible. Jaylen Warren, a former undrafted free agent, earned his way onto the field while Najee was struggling with the foot injury, and Harris never managed to wrestle back complete control of the backfield. Harris's opportunity share was 83% in 2022, but that dropped to 63%, with Warren taking some of the work away. Warren outproduced Harris in yards per carry with 4.8 to Harris's 3.8 and had 8.3 yards per reception to Harris's 5.5. If Harris struggles in 2023 or suffers another injury, Warren could be one of the most valuable handcuffs in fantasy football. Big Ant, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about this guy. I think I don't know nothing about him. I didn't watch a lot of Pittsburgh. But even if Najee goes down or if he doesn't look good, he's still going to be the guy. If he gets hurt, I don't even like. They had rushing issues with Najee. Is he going to come out and do any better for him? I mean, the Lions garbage. they got
hogwash.
Some young quarterback who's not even that great, to be honest. I mean, a couple receivers and Najee. So I mean, if I'm kind of sticking away from Pittsburgh all around, but yeah, it's just kind of boring to me. I don't know much about the guy.
I actually stashed him a couple of weeks because of the fact I even put it on a couple of pods, and I remember telling that to Ryan, and Ryan looked at me like, "Yeah, I was looking at him too." But yeah, Warren, he has the upside, but to your point, Ant, for sure. I mean, the offensive line there, it's not too great, I don't think. But for the question for this, can potentially be a RB1 if he goes down. I don't think he could be RB1, but maybe he'd be a RB2. I think he moves up one. I was waiting on Warren to get his chance all last season, but Harris decided to play with the injuries and still cut into the time. So I never really got a good look. But yeah, I mean, he's a solid handcuff if he can get some time, because in a short little, production I've seen him, he was okay.
All right. Cobra.
Yeah, he's just okay. He had a couple weeks there where he looked pretty good and he had some decent numbers, but Najee is the guy. And if anything happens, like Ant said, that Pittsburgh offense is so bad that I don't think they'll be worth much anyways. Like, even if Najee goes out, say Najee goes out for the rest of the season. Let's say, okay, here's a hypothetical. Let's say Najee gets hurt like this summer and he's out for the whole 2023 season. Where does Jaylen Warren go?
He's still not a sexy pick to me.
No, I think he would be an RB3.
15 to 20 range.
Yeah, he's not
15, 20? Holy cow! I was thinking like
for a starting running back. Come on, man.
but on the
Running
but
back,
on
yeah, he's
Pittsburgh.
15-20 range.
Yeah.
He's like
Let's go
definitely
back
fourth
to the
round.
well.
Definitely fourth round.
I
Okay, if
think
he
he's-
takes the
I
bulk
think-
load, right?
I don't know if he'd crack top 24 for me. But okay, let's go back to this real quick. J.K. Dobbins or Jalen Warren?
Warren.
Dobbins.
Warren? That's
Dobbins.
RB17, Paul.
I'll take him.
Damn. Okay.
Dobbins.
We've already seen Dobbins. We've already seen Dobbins when he's the man. We haven't seen the upside. I mean, think about it, man. This guy's fresh. He's young. Dobbins injury prone.
I would take Dobbins. Warren or Cam Akers?
Cam Akers.
Okay.
I'm taking
RB18.
Warren.
Hold on, that's a good
taking
question. That was
Warren.
difficult. That was a little difficult, man.
Taking Warren, man.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Warren too because of what happened, and that, like, you know what I'm saying. That's that salty taste in my mouth where it's like I had Cam, I drafted Cam, and he, you know what I'm saying.
He ain't strong.
For
300.
me,
Yeah, 300-yard game.
give me Kamala Akers.
I like it.
Damian Pierce or Warren?
Oh,
Damian.
Pierce.
I'll never draft Pierce ever in my
Wait,
life.
well,
That thing sucks.
You guys know them. You guys know that the Singletary signed with the Texans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you still okay with that?
I still think Pierce is the guy.
I don't really
Pierce is the
care what
guy.
they do in
Pierce is
Houston,
the
man.
guy.
And they all suck out there, so it doesn't really
Okay.
matter.
DeAndre
Crazy.
Swift or Jalen Warren?
Swift.
Talking about 3
That
games
one,
Swift, or are we talking about 16 games Swift?
You stumped me on that one, to be honest.
Which one are you talking about? I mean, this is a legit question. Which Swift are we
Healthy,
talking
healthy going into the year, Swift.
Splitting time with my boy David Montgomery Swift, or are we talking about Jalen Warren? You know, taking the whole
All this
load.
hypothetical, Paul.
Splitting time with old man Montgomery. What are you talking about?
Talking about
Swift.
Montgomery, man. Montgomery's the top
Swift is
15
an
back.
Swift
Man,
is a backup running back right now, and then you got Jalen Warren who's going to be a starting running back. You're obviously
Exactly.
going to take Jalen Warren.
Take Jalen Warren.
Come on.
Yeah, you know, I guess I think he would be around that 20 range for me. You know, in the mix with like Damian Pierce, DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders, Montgomery, James Conner, those kind of guys. Like he'd be in that mix.
Why is Pierce so high up there, man? Pierce is good.
Huh. Yeah, he wasn't on your team on the end of the season. I'll tell you that.
Pierce still almost had 1,000 yards, and you missed like 40.
Hey, go ahead and take him on your team at the end of the year. Dude
Who were you
sucks.
talking about? You're talking about 1,000 yards, and but you missed games. Like Pierce
He
did the same
sucks,
thing.
man. Pierce sucks. All right.
All right, whatever you say, man.
Oh man. All right, that's it for me. I just think it's interesting. Warren's okay.
He's okay.
Does he have? Is he potential running back 1? Okay, or just like
RB2.
RB2, RB3?
Yeah. He's just okay. Like if Najee goes down for the season and I have to bid on him with Fab on the waiver wire, I'll give him a cool 25% and call it a day. If I get him
You wouldn't blow your load if you really needed a running back.
no way. Not on Jalen Warren. Gotta be a lot prettier than that.
Copy that.
Yo. All right, man. And with that, let's go into players we will never draft again. Who want to kick this one off, man?
I'll talk about the guy we just talked about, DeAndre Swift, man. Some guy who can't stay healthy. He's always playing backup. I'm cool off Swift, man. I had him one year when he was great, and then I got him again the following year, and he was just horrible, and he hasn't been the same since. So I mean, I stay away from this guy, man. I'm probably not going to draft him. DeAndre Swift is one of the guys that's off my radar. I know he has so much potential and he does good, but I don't know, man. He just rubs me the wrong way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something, but let me not. Oh man, we lost Trover.
Ryan. He'll
So
be
do
back.
you have like a list of players, or do you only have just Swift?
I'll probably think of some as we go, but That was just
man.
off. That was that one just off the top of my head.
All right, yeah, no. As for me, man, for me, I'm never drafting David Montgomery again. That he's number one on my list. I drafted him. He didn't do nothing for me, man. I had Travis Etienne on that list, but seeing what he was able to do for Ryan last year, he got put back on. But for sure, it's David Montgomery. I got Russell Wilson on there, guys that I will never draft. Who else do I got on my list?
About Cam Akers.
There you go. Thank you, Cam Akers. Cam Akers on my list. Who else? Wide receivers. Do I have any wide receivers that I would never draft again? I don't think so. Well, what about you, Ant?
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
The boy Michael Thomas has been on his team the last 4 years.
Long time. He's done nothing for me for 4 years. I've
Hey,
invested some good stock in this guy.
Hey, my boy, he's 16 round. Oh, I got my sleeper. Woo! Hey, you guys ready? You guys wait till next season. Oh, I can't wait. He's just messed. Hey, Michael Thomas is just, man, he's doing you dirty the last 4 years, man.
That's the only one I
he's
can
been
think
sitting
of.
on the IR for you, right?
I think. Hey, look at the
definitely
news on him. You see the news on him what today?
Nah.
It says Michael Thomas is not 100% healthy after his toe surgery.
Wow, really?
So you're supposed to say, yeah, I feel good after a surgery. No, this guy's I'm not 100% healthy. Like, okay, this guy's nothing but problems, man.
Cobra, you got a list for us?
Yeah, did you guys already run through yours?
Yeah, somewhat. I think
Somewhat.
I called out David Montgomery, Cam Akers, and Russell Wilson.
Nice. Yeah, I had Wilson on mine too.
Tripping.
All right. Yeah, I got some guys. Michael Thomas was on there too. I haven't drafted him in ages. First on my list, CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh man, thank you. I forgot about him.
Yeah,
Is he still
I've
in the
never
league?
drafted him before, and I never will.
Is he still in the league?
Not for long. What's that video out there? Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. You're gonna be for the Guangdong Tigers. Oh man, yeah. CEH, he's number one on the list. Another guy on the list that I think a lot of people draft, and when I do a lot of mock drafts or I'm in different leagues, this running back, he's a running back, usually falls to me somewhere in the third round, and I never, ever take him. I always pass on him for somebody else, and that's John Connor. I'm sorry, I mean, what's his
James
name?
Conner,
James Conner.
averaging 2 yards a carry.
Yeah,
my boy, Big Game James. You kidding me?
Man.
Oh, you guys are tripping. My boy had 18 touchdowns 2 years ago.
I will always
How
find a
long
reason
ago?
to pass on him. Yeah,
What a bum. He wasn't.
James
He hasn't
Conner.
been nothing since Pittsburgh.
Boy, Big Game James. You guys are tripping, man.
so those are my running backs. I got a couple more on there, but they're not like, I don't hate these guys. I got Antonio Gibson. I just think he's a bust. And then I have, okay, so this one's going to surprise you guys. I have Nick Chubb.
What?
Nick Chubb, there's nothing wrong with Nick Chubb. I like him as a player. He's fine. It's just where he goes in the drafts, like that round 2, round 1-ish. I'll never, ever draft him there. So
Okay.
he never ends up on my team.
Wow.
So wide receiver, I got Michael Thomas. I got Mike Williams. Rostering Mike Williams for a full season was like riding a roller coaster the entire year. Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Mhm.
And then Gabe Davis. I ain't falling for that again.
Ooh, thank you. Yeah, nah. You trade.
Fool me
You got.
once, shame on me. Fool me
Yeah, I
twice.
should have never traded for him last year.
No thanks to Gabe Davis. And then quarterback, I got Russell Wilson. You know, and
Guys are
then
tripping.
and then Derek Carr.
Geno Smith over Russ right now.
Stop it, man. You guys will be sorry. Watch when I draft Dangerous in the 16th round. And then it becomes,
He said in the 16th round.
Hey, what about
Nice-
Cortland Sutton,
nice
man?
dig.
I that's a guy that I don't really like a lot. Cortland Sutton's never really been a guy that's. I think I drafted him once, and I think I steered away from him. The last time I picked him up was because somebody had dropped him, Cortland Sutton, and then he still, once I picked him up, I think he went right back to the waivers. But he's always been a guy that, like, he just, good 1 week and then crappy the next. That's another guy I remember I'll stay away from.
You know who? So the other guy that I'll stay away from is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Man, I think I drafted him when he was with the Packers, and then he's just been trash ever since. I mean, he hasn't really done much in the league, and yeah, no, I will never roster him again. I'll never draft him or anything.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anybody else on your list?
I don't see anybody else really. Maybe
We just talked
Zeke Elliott.
We talked about a guy. I'm probably gonna stay away from Najee Harris for the next couple of years for sure.
Smart man.
Yeah, I'm not really
Smart
on him
man.
no more.
Yeah, you're not alone on that one.
But he's still high on. Where do you think Najee actually goes? You think somebody picks him up in the second round?
Just because of his name.
If it is, it could be like late second, yeah, maybe early third.
Yeah, they got him as like RB 12, 13 right now. So that's like a late second, third round pick, I think. Maybe.
Okay.
I think he's okay. It's just that Pittsburgh offense, man, with Kenny Pickett, just like, ugh. Just don't want any part of it.
Yeah, do you think that it's because of that horrible passing game that the run game is just not going to do anything?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, Allen Robinson's another person I'll never have on my team again.
Mm-hmm.
Two ex-Chicago players I'll never have. Busts, both of them.
I want to throw a tight end out there, Dawson Knox, who's upset me plenty of times.
That's a good one.
Dawson Knox, man, the dude has so much upside because he's got the quarterback situation. He's got, one of the best. And damn, you think he's just gonna, he should be a lot better than what he is, man, or what he does, and then just continues to let you down, man. Especially you go in there Monday night. All I need is 3 points. Oh, I got Dawson Knox, man. One catch for 5 yards, and then you lose. I was like, come on, man. Give me something better.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I had him last year, but good thing I had Gerald Everett, man, on both my teams, so I was able to play Gerald, and I really do like him as a tight end. But yeah, no, I remember I benched Dawson, and that week he went off for like 20-something points, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I played him next week, and I didn't get anything, bro.
Exactly, man. He's the worst, man. He's like just the worst.
The Gabe Davis of tight ends.
Ironically, they play on the same team, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of tight ends, I think one guy that a lot of people are going to feel pretty strongly about will be like Kyle Pitts. Yeah. Kyle Pitts is one of those guys that is just, polarizing. Like he has all the talent, but is in that situation, and
you'll never deal with Kyle again.
Me personally, nah. I'm going back to the well, baby. I'm ready for more.
I remember I traded for him and I thought I got a steal, and then he got hurt the next game. I was like, oh man, I got all this good stuff. Ryan hyped me up. I think Ant traded him to me in his league, and I was all juiced. And then he was only on my team for 2 quarters, and then and then I had to cut him.
He was on the come up, man. Like he was on the come up, and then he got hurt.
That guy sucks.
All right. If we have no players, or if that's our list of players, man. Let's get into this last and final segment real quick. Our running back bold predictions. Got a list of questions for you guys. I'm gonna start with Big Ant. Who's the league's leading rusher next season?
Yards?
Yeah, yards.
For rushing.
No, I got that question next. I'm talking about leading rusher in yards. Yes.
That's hard.
Fine, I guess I'll jump in there. It's gonna be Nick Chubb, man. No more playing. What's Kareem Hunt back there? He's gonna be the guy every carry. Nick Chubb goes back to the top, and he's already got a couple rushing titles. I think Nick Chubb takes it.
All right. You still thinking it?
I was saying Derrick
go
Henry.
Oh, Derrick Henry. He doesn't. Where's he gonna play at though?
He'll say in Tennessee.
I thought they're looking for a trade for him right now. I know that there hasn't been no
be,
real news.
It could be
I
better.
think regardless, need Derrick Henry.
All right, Cobras.
Ant took mine. That's okay. I'll pick another guy. Give me Jonathan Taylor. Bounce back
Wow. Hope you draft him too.
Wow.
for the right price.
Yeah, there you go. It's always a price tag.
For me,
Put that back on the counter. That's too much.
For me, man, it's CMC, man. I think he's gonna lead the league in rushing yards, man. And that 49ers team, you know what I'm saying? Elijah Mitchell is always injured. CMC's gonna be the man. Doesn't really have to share too much. He's gonna handle business this year. He's gonna coming back two years fresh from the injury. Look at what Saquon was able to do 2 years. I mean, he just played for the Giants, so that was the only downside to that. But at CMC's gonna, I feel, the league's leading rusher. All right, so to the next question, who's the fantasy leading rusher, like in points? Now we talking points. I'm gonna go ahead, Paul.
I'm going right where you left off, man. CMC, that's a no-brainer. The guy's gonna catch the ball. You're gonna rush the ball. You're gonna do it everything. It's your Swiss Army knife right there. This guy's gonna lead in fantasy points. He's predicted to go number one in every single draft. So even when he was with Carolina, he was predicted to go number one in a lot of drafts. And he led the league in fantasy when he was over there. Now he's in San Francisco. Come on, man. Easy pick with CMC.
All right, Big Ant.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Jeez, we got to start getting tested on the show.
We finished last year. What's wrong with that?
What's up?
Are you serious? I thought
100%.
are you being serious,
Yeah.
Yikes. Yikes.
Cobra.
I mean, this is a bold prediction segment, so we'll go bold. Big asterisk, just depending on where this guy lands. Bijan Robinson.
Bijan, okay, I like that. That's new.
Where is he going?
Who knows?
I don't know. It's obviously dependent, but I think Bijan has a shot. Or there's a bunch of guys on here I could see. Like I almost said Jonathan Taylor or like Ken Walker. Ken Walker with the full season could do it.
Yeah. I think Saquon, man, might lead the league in fantasy points this year.
Saquon,
he started off strong, man. He just ended pretty horribly, and a lot of it attributed to Daniel Jacobs, or Daniel, whatever his name is, Daniel Jones.
Jacobs, Danny Dimes. I think you call him something different every time.
No, I don't know that quarterback, man. He's subpar quarterback, man. But no, I think, like, again, he could average a potential 22 points a game, man, and I think he's going to lead the league, man. So yeah. Wow. All right, man. Who's leading the pass? Who's the league's leading pass catcher out the backfield? We'll start with you, Big Ant.
That one's probably CMC.
Okay.
Just because the Niners dump it off so much, and I'm just worried about CMC's timeshare. To be honest with you, man, that's the only reason why I'm not so high on that. Is because the Niners, no matter who the Niners have a running back, they like to share the rock. So that's the only reason why I'm not like kind of seeing him see. Yeah, he's obviously probably the consensus number one pick in all drafts, but like the Niners share the rock no matter who it is.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But you never know. It might be different this coming season, especially if, from what I'm hearing, Brock Purdy is starting quarterback. The only reason why they shared the rock so much is because of how they had to run the ball so much. And you know what I'm saying? And also we did have a few different running backs who were pretty good, in Mostert and then Jeff Wilson and then Elijah Mitchell. But yeah, if we're
I
not,
mean,
if we don't, go ahead.
I'll just say I think it is smart to also share the rock because he's had a history of injuries. So I mean, it's obviously smarter to go that route anyway. But I still think he leads the league in receptions. Him or Eckler. Eckler had like 107 last year. So
yeah, that's what that's what I was gonna say.
Honestly, it just depends on where Eckler goes.
That is true. Paul,
I want to say outside of the two obvious choices, those two guys, I want to see Travis Etienne get some more catches out there. I mean, they spread the ball out a little bit more. Jacksonville throw a couple more screens, a little outside real quick. You know what I mean? I think Etienne could be that guy. I mean, he's I know he's a smaller guy too. He can wiggle his way through there. But yeah, Etienne, my pick.
Nice, that's a good pick. What about you, Cobra?
Yeah, outside of the two obvious, CMC and Eckler, I think it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson. He had 69 receptions last year, over 400 yards receiving. I think he could go higher.
All right. I like it, man. Obviously I was going to say Eckler, man. That's the only one that I could think of. But the last question, man. Biggest fantasy bust this season. I'm talking Jonathan Taylor bust. Cobra.
Yeah. Out of the top 10, I think the guy that has like the best odds of being a bust is Travis Etienne.
Okay.
I heard some rumors that they're looking for some more help in that backfield. Outside of like Jermichael Hasty, somebody else that's a little bit better. And Etienne, man, I like him a lot. I think he's really good. He's a little bit undersized. He doesn't get enough of the passing work because they have so many weapons in Jacksonville. It just wouldn't surprise me if he gets drafted high, like in the second round, but he ends up kind of like being like a mid value, just kind of okay, but not like a superstar for your team.
All right. I like it. For me, Josh Jacobs, from rushing leader to fantasy bust, man. I think that's how it goes this year. Big Ant.
I was going to say Etienne as well. I just don't think he's going to touch the ball enough. I think they're going to sling it a lot. And even when he had the timeshare, he has like the explosiveness, but he also has those where he just gets hit in the backfield and goes nowhere. So I feel like he could cost you some. Or depending on where you draft him, but yeah, like if you draft him in the first round, I think it's going to be bad.
Okay. All right, Paul, it's on you, man.
Tony Pollard. Draft him a little higher. Draft him a little too high. I'm just saying, yeah, he showing flashes coming off the injury. And what did he break? He broke a bone, didn't he? So, maybe he doesn't come back. Maybe he doesn't come back. Hey, this is a prediction. Just relax, man.
It's bold predictions, man. Bold predictions.
I'm just saying there's no Zeke. He's the number one guy now. All the reports are on, Tony Pollard now, how to stop him. It could be a little bit different. Relax. I'm just saying, don't put all your chips in the bag. You know what I mean? Just
where do you draft him at?
You're probably going to draft him high. Tony Pollard's going to go high. You're top 10 running back, right? So,
you tell me?
I'm just, this is a bold prediction, man.
You tell me? Well, at least tell me where he's going to go. I mean, it's a bold prediction.
He's a top 10 running back. I'm just saying, hopefully he lives up to that. That's all I'm saying.
You hit him in the fields, man.
Jeez, man. We're not talking about Dak. We're talking about Tony Pollard. Relax.
Oh, man. That's good. All right, man. I don't have any other questions. You guys got anything else, man, before we...
I had something else, but I wanted to end it with Ant. I wanted to see him get a little red, my boy.
No, he did get red. I like it. I like it. All right, man. If we ain't got anything else, man, remember this Friday, 8 p.m., we got TIYF presents Game Time. This is the sports talk podcast that we just started last week. It's me, Jose, and then on Sundays we got the TIYF baseball podcast with the Truth and Big Ant. That you can catch them live at noon right here on YouTube and on Twitch. And also, you can catch their podcast out on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast at, along with this one, man. And this podcast will be available Friday morning at 6 a.m. this time. I promise it's not gonna be late. Also, I need you'll be able to get the TIYF Game Time podcast soon. I'm still working on that. That'll be out available here this weekend. But yeah, man, make sure you follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at TIYF Podcast. Hit us up. Oh, also on TikTok, man, we had TIYF Podcast or TIYF Pod, sorry. And make sure you like, subscribe, follow, do all the things, man. For the TIYF crew, this is your boy Billy F. Gates, aka Steamin' Billy Beeman. We out, baby.
Go Warriors.
Shout out to Sacramento Kings. Let's go.